We say good afternoon from the Third and Pie. I'm Selvon Mitchell. At the mics this evening, my other colleagues are on matters of state. Most likely will be here joining us shortly on the airwaves. We say good evening to the management and staff, the IWER Jones family, the management and staff, our director, Chris Beats. To those in the listening audience, those in the pavilion, who in Trinidad, who in Tobago, who in Guyana, who in Venezuela, those in the Middle East, those in Africa, those in Asia, those in Europe, those in the US, we say welcome. We say welcome. But before we kick off, we like to say, thanks to the energy, the creator, the force, the God, that which you believe in that have you on this earth this day, giving you life, strength, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, whatever that is, we say give it thanks. Give it thanks for us being here. Now, we're here today to again continue the conversation that we started. Yesterday we talked about wars and the impact of this war. It started as a conflict, now is a war, and the impact which it will have on us in Trinidad. Before I jump in, I'd like to say, join me, 342-0081, 466-5391. Let's converse, let's see. Let the pavilion participate in this conversation as we travel for the next 3 hours, dissecting, reviewing, analyzing all the impact and the issues that impact our daily life as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I've been watching, we talk about the issue with the children, and it comes down to crime and criminality. We look at our situation as a country of state of emergency and extension of state of emergency. We look at a murder rate going, well, they say it was going down, and now we have a next state of emergency and it's going up. The question is, why did it go down? What strategy was implemented that stopped after the state of emergency for murders to go up? And why I mention it, I just, glance at something on my phone and someone in South will report somebody, the next murder again. Someone gets shot in the road, then in 500, someone gets shot on the road, and on Grandy, somebody gets shot by the road, and in a state of emergency. The question begs is, are we just putting sores on problem, or are we fixing problems? Are we really doing any deep analysis on situation, or we just doing some what I call knee-jerk reaction? Something happened, let's just do this, without really getting down to see cause and effect. What causing this? What something is happening in society? Murder is going up. What is causing people shooting people in the road? Let's put it that way. All murders can be stopped. Well, we have a caller early. Caller, welcome. Like you, tell me.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Crime was out of control. 9 years. Problem with crime, house breaking, rape, human trafficking, all the time, 9 years. I agree with you, crime is plenty. Yes, no. You do not expect this government to have a year yet. They're trying to see what they could do to help the situation with crime. But the past government, again, 9 years, it get out of control. They were big, long gone on the road. And right here in Dimsley, Catoliqua, a few years ago, gang shooting gang, a woman just watched by the window, they shoot 6 dead bodies, 4 little children on the bed in a arena, and inside, going up there, that's how they call the place, Blanchard, they were kidnapping and rape and elderly kill and babies, was all them things was there. All them things was there all the time, and no medicine for that complaint. So what happened? The sickness get out of control now. When the soil gets bad, to cure it hard. So this is what happened. So this government coming there now, they're trying. But what was wrong, 9 years trouble kept it in 1 year. And this country, I say, under the PNM, it's almost gone like 80. Because they didn't try no mechanism. When you hear the Prime Minister talking, he said, I'm not giving the jailers no trouble at all in the jail. I'm doing something, a woman come out and said, jump the wall and do for them. Who does their sapat and sari? All that kind of things. It was encouragement going on. These trying, let me see what they will do. Thank you very much for your time.
You're too kind, you're too kind, you're too kind. Something we have to understand as a people in the pavilion to a large extent. The responsibility for crime fighting have, I like to call it Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Everyone have a role to play in terms of crime fighting. And you know, I mentioned yesterday, Gary Griffith mentioned something, I heard Philip Alexander mentioning something. At the end of the day, you can give all the information you want to the police service. They are the only ones that can really make the arrests. And then you have the judiciary to prosecute or persecute and have a conviction laid for the penalty or so to be placed against perpetrators. We are to ask ourselves, are all the organs of our system working effectively and efficiently for us to arrest crime and criminality in the country? That's the first thing we have to ask ourselves in terms of our analysis. A lot of us know the answer. This is a conversation we had ad nauseum. Not the first time Trinidad having this conversation, not the first time we having this conversation here. I just brought it up because when we left the studio last night, on the news had some man get shot. I now check my phone to check something. I see an ex-man in South Oropouche get shot. And the thing about it, this is happening in the day, in the public domain, in the public space. This is no man sneaking a man thing, and in the road, in the clear road, in the road, everybody there, drut, 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 drut. It's a societal problem. It's not a police problem. It's not a party problem. It's not. It's all of us have to really sit down and decide. State of emergency, you're going to solve no crime problem if we don't deal with the cause. State of emergency do not address a cause, right? It gives you an avenue, a tool for ease of investigation. That's what it does. But the system or the methodology or the technology or the training that needs to be in place to arrest crime is where the gap really exists. Because when the state of emergency ends, if we did not fix all the gaps that exist, we'll be back to square one again and talking about the same ad nauseum who had, and you know, we have a way of I don't know if it is good soundbite for people. Well, last year we had 400 comparison to the last. What level of regressive conversation is that? Last year we had 400 and this year we have 200, so we have less than yours and who have less than you. Listen, politicians in the parliament, you all do arrest nobody, you all do investigate no crime. Stop giving the impression that you all have anything to do with the arresting of people, to a large extent the persecution of anybody. You all have nothing to do with that. Is the Commissioner of Police supposed to be facing the public and speaking about his performance to the public, and we the people supposed to hold him to account for his performance? We have laws upon laws upon laws on the books of Trinidad and Tobago. Laws to annoy you. If you look at these are laws we have that police can use to treat with, from jaywalking, people crossing the road anyhow. Do you have a law for that in Trinidad, you know? This is why we have zebra crossing. But we just cross the road anytime and so forth. We have, as I mentioned the other day, people doing, just parking derelict vehicle on the road and taking up a whole line of the roadway. We have people selling in the middle of the highway and soliciting sales in the middle of the highway and so forth, traffic, whoop, whoop, whoop. We have all of that. And, well, it go down the road until something happens, and we kind of do what we call a kind of reactionary policing. When it happens, then we'll deal with it. There are so much things we can do now. So we have some violence in the schools, so we put police in the schools, but it's still going on. So we just react. Put some police in the school. Okay, put some police in the school. Children still doing that. To solve the children, that mental challenge that some children have, that indisciplined environment that they were brought up in. I just calling out some things. I'm not pointing at nobody children. I just call it cause that things that can have children behaving the way they behave, the environment, the low self-esteem sometimes to be relevant. People feel if I create an uproar, I'll get some attention because I don't get no attention home. The socio-economic position, the psychological frame and framework and mindset, all of these bring about the indiscipline in some children in school. And you know, I mean, some people might get vexed with me. I wouldn't mention it. There are some schools that they are not fighting at all. You know, there are certain schools, and if people dig deep and realize there are certain schools, you don't really get the issues that you have in other schools, and we have to ask ourselves why. Yeah, we have to ask ourselves why. In these schools, there are no fighting and no bacchanal and so forth, and the other school, you have fighting every day, and the parents want to come and challenge the teacher, as the case would be, not addressing that the child may be at fault, and so the child is encouraged to some extent. There are solutions for this. The solution have been developed. There are training and development tools for these things that have been used not only in the Caribbean, in England. I spoke about some methods that we can employ, that through the CVQO program, through institutions in school. Institution is not a negative thing in this regard, people. That we can really put together, that exists, and we just throw it aside. And sometimes you just have to reset, you know. Sometimes you just have to, if you reset and go back to that which worked, you'll realize you don't really have a problem. If you just go back to that which worked, how it was before, why it was like that, why we change it. So we change it, and we end up in a difficult situation, just revert, pivot. Pivot, it's hard to pivot. No, shame, we make a mistake, but we try something. And change is the only constant that exists. So if we try this and it will work, well, we go back to that which worked before. Clearly, what we're doing right now, they're working. Police in the school, hey, in my opinion, this is my opinion, regressive step, because there are other solutions that we can use to reform. I'm going to say rehabilitate, but reform. Reform. build character in our children in the school environment and the community environment. There are a number of things we can do that doesn't require having uniform police. You know, what kind of image and impression that give of our society that we have to reach the stage where we actually have to take police officers that were trained, how much, 6 months or how much they were trained in training camp and schooled and a number of things to be in school. It shows lack of thinking, lack of vision, lack of reasoning, lack of strategic planning, lack of any depth of understanding behavioral science. And I'm sure we have a number of professionals in this. Ministry of Education have departments of sociology and child psychologists and a number of things they have in this Ministry of Education. And I would really like to see what comes out in terms of strategy to deal with these challenges in school. Probably they have proposed something, and I hope they were not the ones that proposed police in schools. After you went and you train and you get schooled and educated and so forth in child psychology, sociology, teaching, and all these various things and so forth that you need to be in an environment where developing our children's minds are concerned, we have reached the stage where we have to put police in schools. Where we have reached the stage where we have to have ZOSO and state of emergency for us to live in a little village called Trinidad with 1.3 million people. Something wrong with we. Something really wrong with us as a society. And we really have to reset. We have to start listening, because there are some people that really making sense out there, but probably the decision makers, not pointing finger at any particular person, but the decision maker, whoever the decision rests on, are really listening to everybody. And those that they listen to really knee-jerk reaction people, I call them. Probably we had to shuffle the deck of advisors, the shuffle the deck of the technocrats. And I said it recently, and the third time I'm saying it, probably we had to start protecting using the politician to protect the people from the state. I'm wondering if we have to do that now, because the state are really coming up with no kind of real meaningful solution. And the fact that you had to run to and ask the politician what they're doing, and they hide behind the fact, and people are mindful, the state, the technocrats that we pay, hide behind the fact. I don't want to call them incompetent in any way, because I don't know why their behavior is what it is. But they hide behind the fact that ministers jump out and give the impression that they are managers of the ministry when the ministers are not managers of the ministry. They are not implementers of anything in the ministry. But they give strategic leadership. See what I said? Strategic leadership with the vision of the executive and the administration that would come out of the cabinet, which would be fed from the socioeconomic challenges that exist in the country, would feed how we develop policy that the minister will now oversee and drive in the ministry. But he doesn't implement anything. He or she doesn't implement it. They don't go and pave the road. They don't go and arrest nobody and everything like that. And they should stop and pull back a little bit. And every time they're having a press conference, have the people that's so responsible for addressing, solving, or implementing whatever change next to them. When the mayor in New York speak, you see the commissioner of police next to him, you know. You see the chief fire officer next to him, you know. You see the road engineer next to the mayor of New York City, and you look at developed countries. They don't speak by themselves. They know their role, you know. So when you in, I know, education speak of the challenges in school relative to, let the people responsible for implementing government policy be next to you. So the reporters can ask them, well, why? Let them answer, they are paid to address these problems in schools. They are people paid to address crime and criminality and come up with solutions and strategy. We have people paid for that. But what we have as society is the wrong set of people answering the questions. I don't call the reporters the wrong set of people, you know. But reporters don't know where to direct the question to. But it's more sensational. We call the minister, and the minister say, we call the minister, and we left a message on it. It's not he to answer the question on crime and criminality. It's not he to answer or she to answer the question on the challenges you have in the school system. Because we have present laws, guidelines, policies, checks and balances, consequences in law already. I don't know how much law we want to make again, you know, really and truly, you know, for 1.3 on 5,400 square kilometer, this piece of rock we on. How much laws you want to make really and truly? I don't know. But there's an easy way. Is an escape of taking responsibility for incompetence or poor performance, or having square peg in round hole. Yeah. We say we had to make a law to address that, so everybody rock back and say, oh, well, that is why, well, we have violence in school, you know. We were missing 2 laws. And with these new laws, we had the gang bill. Remember the bill for whether you build a gang, if you're in a gang, you get arrested and so forth. They said that would have solved crime. And that was proposed by the police service to the policy makers, and they went to parliament and they passed a law. If you're in a gang, you get arrested. May I see that change anything with crime? But everybody thought that was the silver spoon. You pass that law, that is it. Crime done. Everybody lock up. Everybody had to be home doing the lessons and homework. So that's what we hide behind it. We had to make a law for this, you know. Oh, we had to make we have enough laws. We have real laws. We need people to start doing the work. We need the sociologists, the criminologists, and that we're paying in ministries to start doing their work. We need people to start visiting schools and understanding what's going on, spending a whole day observing children behavior, behavioral scientists, going to school and sit down and just observe children for the whole day, what they do, how they congregate, how they play, what their conversations are. Sit down in a classroom and observe what is happening. What are the challenges? Is the school short of teachers? I know a number of people who have teaching. You know, the teachers have a teaching number at home waiting to be called to teach, but we are shortage of teachers in school. Is that the issue? We are short of teachers? I don't know. But who is doing the analysis? Who is gathering empirical data for decisions to be made, for problems to be solved that we have in this country? I don't know. I don't know. Who is doing it? Or we just say, well, this happened, we have a ZOSO. So we had the state of emergency, so okay, then we switch to ZOSO, and after ZOSO, we might go to something else. So it's just laws, 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 laws. But here what's going on? The guns still coming in the country. The drugs still coming in the country. The gangs, and they still exist, and indiscipline and violence in the school still taking place. Man still getting shot in the street in broad daylight like it's the Wild West. So it tells me that really and truly, them fellas who doing that which is non-productive, they winning the war. They winning the war. I really come down to us really doing what we're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it, and how we're supposed to. Yesterday we spoke about the children and the issue in England with this pedophile young guy who interfered with some young children, and we asked the question, have we looked at, since the, I think it's the Abood report, and somebody could probably call and remind the pavilion, if it was the Abood report, 342-0081-466-5391, that spoke of the deplorable conditions and the circumstance that children existed, had to endure, had to live in and with in some of these institutions. The question begs, what was done to prevent those things in that report from repeating itself? Do we have psychometric analysis of teachers or managers or supervisors in these children home or kindergarten, or what they call them, the word I'm looking for, you know, where they, nurseries and so, or anybody just have a nursery $250 a day, and you bring your child and so forth, and people. So, well, after the 3 months, the mother had to go to work, and the father had to go to work, and they're not living in an extended family, so they had to put the child somewhere, because we do have, like in some developed countries, where you have 1 year maternity leave. So by that time, the child could have a level of consciousness. We had to put babies. You know what I'm saying? We had to put babies who can talk, who can explain themselves, who's totally dependent upon an adult, to be in the care of a stranger who may not be prepared in any way, psychologically, mentally. They may have their own issue at home and coming to see about your child, because here we're going on, them have a bill to pay. They have a bill to pay, so I'm looking for a work. And Gertrude, with the nursery, need someone, so I go in and apply by Gertrude, and the Gertrude go do a background check and go in the police service and get a CEC, what they call it, a COC, and they come and I have no criminal record, but I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm crazy, my head turn up inside. I never commit no crime, police never catch me, but my head turn up inside. I passed through a little exam and I have 5 subjects, but I'm mad, my head turn up inside. I all how. I biscankwe mentally. But I need $1. I have 5 subjects. I pass the COC and I get a work in Tante Gertrude Nursery. In Tante Gertrude Nursery, I am seeing about babies, toddlers who can explain themselves, who can reason, who need help, who helpless. They put Joycelyn to take care of people's children. And when some harm to people's children now, oh God, police, oh Lord, what is this? But we start bad. We start bad. Of course, how are we going to end up? We will end up bad. The question is, are we doing what we call possibility thinking in terms of what are some of the possibilities or the risk factor that, or the challenges or the issues that can be derived or may happen if we do not put somebody of a certain characteristic to take care of people's children. So we're starting with that. So we're building the rubric of the characteristic of the person we need there. And then we say, by law, because we're trying to, it's preventative measures we're looking at. You have a institution that deals with children for money. The law get involved when you start to do the service for money. See where the state come inside there, because you're not doing this for free. You're doing it for money, and once you are charging, you have a business. And the fact that you have a business, there are rules and regulation for conducting business in Trinidad. The question begs, how do we regulate nurseries, children home, these schools that take these children below 5 when they can't go to primary school and so forth? There are a lot of them all over the country. Have we regulated, or we wait until something happens in one of the schools to start bawling and say, no God, police? Why we do this? Possibility thinking, why we do just fix it? It exists. Why we do fix it? Why we as a society just reacting all the time? We are an intelligent society, you know. We're one of the most literate society in the world, per capita. I think we at in the 90s, if not closer to 90-something% literacy in Trinidad. Why are we not thinking? Or is it too difficult to think, or we're just looking for the easy way out? Well, when something happens, we go deal with that now, man. Don't stress me this hour of the day. Don't stress me. Or are we just selfish? We do care. We hateful. That could be a reason too, you know. So we know all of these things, we know all the right thing to do. We're so selfish, but my house in order, I good, I could pay somebody to come in, or I have an extended family, so that is not my problem. Well, today is not your problem, but 5 years from now. I've been talking for a little bit now, you know, so I kind of getting a little thirsty. I'm going to sip something. What should I sip? What should I sip? I say I should sip a good and natural ginger tea. My lips are dry. So I'm going to sip this, but let me tell you about this ginger tea I go in and sip and how this started. There was some advice, when you hear it, one time you know it's good advice. My granny tell me a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea first thing in the morning does wonders for your body. Good and natural ginger tea in its single size packet is excellent for flavoring your cooking, salad, and dessert. But what was news to me is when my granny say a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea helps with nasal congestion and colds, stomach problem, migraine headache, and it's really good for arthritis in the body. Made from freshly crushed ginger root to get that strong ginger taste and aroma, so soothing. Good and natural ginger tea available with or without sugar. So all you need is boiling water to get a cup going. As the old people say, don't take flambeau to see in the night, we could see clear in the day. A good and natural ginger tea. Good advice to start your day. So a good and natural ginger tea was the advice that Granny gave. I think Granny know the thing. If you question Granny and them, they have experience, you know, the little bush tea we know to take. Everybody remember when we had school closed and we home, but before school open, we had to get this anything, right? Boil this any. Sometimes we had the aloes. Now everybody used to get the salt. They said the salt was a little too harsh and so forth. And we take the purge. And we fix ourselves because during the holidays we eating everything. We are home whole day, so anything we hand, touch, we eat, we bite. We all in the bush. I grew up countryside, so it was padu. We go and we catch pomsity. We see some ripe fig in the corner, so googlu, banga, all that we get in the bush. That up north side there, people and so forth. So some people might know what I'm talking about and so forth. So you know, say anything. So Granny and them know what they're talking about. All I'm trying to say here is let me take Granny advice and so forth. Granny is missing. But here we're going on. Take it to the next level. The Lotto Plus jackpot pot is now estimated at an incredible $7.7 million. Go from having a little to owning a lot. With $7.7 million, you could move from a small apartment into acres of land, investment properties, and room to dream even bigger. $7.7 million. Add the multiplier for just $5 more for a chance to win up to $1 million. Get your ticket now. For Wednesday's tomorrow, Wednesday's estimated $7.7 million Lotto Plus jackpot. Remember, winners always play Lotto Plus. Players must be 18 years and older. Please play responsibly. 7.7 million people. Lotto Plus jackpot tomorrow, Wednesday. Buy your ticket all now. It's still early. Them Lotto boot open. 7.7. It's playing tomorrow. So you have this evening, you have tomorrow, until that ball call. Remember, winners always play Lotto Plus. Players must be 18 years and older. Please play responsibly. 7.7 million people. It's waiting for you. So we're talking about what we need in terms of strategic leadership. Not only from the politician, we tend to talk what yellow and red and yellow and that is irrelevant to me and so forth, because I know the limited role which yellow and red have. They have a role to play, the 41. So we don't talk yellow and red, we talk 41. Because the 41 inside the whole day have a responsibility to the 1.3 outside here. Because the 1.3 send them there to do something for us. But apart from that, we have the state. The state is the implementation arm of the 41. More so, the policy is coming out of the cabinet. The state, them ministries, them public servant, them permanent secretaries, the state boards and them, they have a responsibility to the people. When your road bad, the first thing you have to ask yourself, did Ministry of Works get an allocation for paving road in the budget? That's the first thing you have to ask. Check back, because these are public things, and nobody should be spoon-feeding people. It is a literate society. Everybody could read, everybody on the phone, have internet, and so forth. Go and check it out. Budget debate, Ministry of Works, how much money they get, billions of dollars they get, okay, no problem. We have the, you know, every Ministry of Works have a road inspector to inspect the quality of the roads outside there and give feedback. I heard the minister talk about 500 potholes and so forth. We don't know what was taking place before, why we end up with 500 potholes. When we reach 100, why we didn't fix it. Gary Griffith knows always says something, you know. Talk about the broken glass theory, or the broken window theory. When one break, fix it. When you read 100 break, just get nauseous. Oh, good. So much break by pressure. When one break, fix it. We see one pothole, fix one pothole now. So we'll be fighting up with 100 and 500 and 300 and oh God, where we getting all the money from? But to fix one pothole, it costs much. It costs much. So we have to reassess where we focus our attention on in terms of fixes in this country. Ministries have technocrats. They have skill sets that are employed based on their structure. They have permanent secretary, which are called accounting officer or managers. I don't know the capacity of these people. If they're just in the ministry long, they went and get two little subject and they end up as permanent secretary. If they could manage anything, if they could manage people, if they themselves run a parlor in their life, if they know how to run or manage anything, I don't know, but they end up there and okay. Well, let me put them to the test and measure them. Let me start focusing on the people who are responsible for implementation. Crime is high. Let me talk about the commissioner of police. Forget the minister. He can't arrest nobody. The road bad. Let me talk about the permanent secretary and the chief engineer in the Ministry of Works. The Minister of Works and Infrastructure don't patch no road and fix no road. There are people inside that are responsible for that, as the case will be. You're getting water in your pipe, was have a whole board of commissioners getting big money, and the management, they getting tall salary. Then we focus on their competency, their capacity, their strategy for water distribution and so forth. Why it is, WASA spent about 45 million putting down a command center some time ago. That to tell you all kind of strange and various things going out water all about the place. Why it is you still had a call and tell them you don't have no water in a particular area? For them to know that, 3 months it had no water up in the area, let us go and see. Why you still have to be calling WASA and telling WASA you don't have no water in Kush Trace? Why it is up to now, after WASA spent $45 million putting on this big command center and all kind of things, we still have to be calling WASA to tell them we don't have water? So we had to call WASA to book, right? Call WASA to book to say, hey, you put on all of this thing, but we still again water. We're in a worse off position with water distribution. Where's your challenge? Where's your retention pond? Where's your management of your borehole or your wells and so forth that you have in Trinidad and Tobago? What is going on? I like to hear from WASA their strategic plan. I want to hear from the minister. He don't deal with no well and servicing of boreholes and all kind of things. He don't deal with that. I don't want to hear none but no minister. I want to hear the board, I want to hear the management talk to the people about what you're doing to address the water situation. We're winding down the first hour of this program and so forth. We're going on the flip side of 5 o'clock when we 4 o'clock when we come back into the 5 o'clock hour. So you join me as we continue to converse on the issues that impact the people of this country.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big up the ground. The big nation, cause you don't know we were the crown. Say where you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we hold our vibe, and let we join together, because KFC is life. It's a big D.
Say what you want. KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation. TNT and KFC, one motion.
Get ready, this is big. Our first annual epic fundraiser cruise. Sail in the sunset aboard the stunning embassy yacht at King's Wharf, San Fernando. Easter Sunday, 5th April 2026. Boarding 2:30 p.m. sharp. Sunset vibes, sweet music, pure liming on the water. Tickets only $250. All funds for a great cause. Together we change lives. Quick route, no glass bottle, no big coolers. Casual dress, come as you're comfy. Payments can be made by Monday, 30th of March 2026. Tickets still available. Call or WhatsApp 683-8569 or 716-4203 right now. Limited spots, don't sleep. Sail in the sunset, Easter Sunday, Embassy Yacht. Let's go.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech, exceptional service.
Score with Coca-Cola. Check out the FIFA World Cup 2026 consumer promotion on now under the 591 ml football label bottles at supermarkets nationwide and see press or social media for more details. Score with Coca-Cola.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side, and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side, and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Man, I went by the ATM to get some cash and the machine saying insufficient funds. I sure I have money in my account.
Boy, that happened to me already. Here what to do. Make a report to your bank. But if you're still not satisfied with how they're dealing with it, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman. Let me text you the number.
If you want to resolve a complaint with your bank, non-bank financial institution, or insurance company, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman at 800-4FSO or visit www.ofso.org.tk. We can help, and our services are free.
Jump into savings at Furniture Plus. Enjoy up to 40% off in-store and online. Find amazing deals on furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more. Plus extra discounts on credit plans and free gifts with select purchases. Save more at Furniture Plus today.
It's a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Go to FIFA World Cup 2026 with Coca-Cola. Just buy any Coca-Cola 591 ml with football labels. Uncap and submit your code via WhatsApp to 328-2878 for your chance to score with Coca-Cola.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
We'll be back on the other side of 5 o'clock. To the Empire, Salwan Mitchell at the mic. I want to kick it off by saying and reminding people, some of you got to remember, take it to the next level. The Lotto Plus jackpot is now estimated at an incredible $7.7 million. Go from having a little to owning a lot. With $7.7 million, you could move from a small apartment into acres of land, investment properties, and room to dream even bigger. Add the multiplier for just $5 more for a chance to win up to $1 million. Get your ticket now for Wednesday's estimated $7.7 million Lotto Plus jackpot. Remember, winners always play Lotto Plus. Players must be 18 years or older. Please play responsibly. 7.7 million people. Lotto Plus jackpot. Tomorrow. Get a ticket from all now, you know. Place still open. It's now 5 o'clock. Place still open. Let's rock and roll, man. Let's get it done. What we, or the Third Empire, tend to do is stand and watch the match as it play. Discuss how the bowlers are bowling, how the batsmen are batting, what strategies are being applied by both sides, and what are the outcome from those strategies that are applied, and how each team use the resources available to them to execute a successful inning. Yeah? So a lot of attention will be placed upon the batsmen, because the batsmen, they're in the wicket right now and they have the resources of state, they have the resources of the treasury with them. And there'll be a greater and higher expectation in terms of performance at the wicket. The bowlers, however, and the fieldsmen, however, although they have a role and responsibility, I want me to think it's outdone, but how they can work with the batsmen for we to have a game that we all enjoy. We all want to enjoy this game of life, this game of politics, this game of our country. We all want to enjoy it. How do we marry the skill sets to achieve that objective in terms of, you know, we, in Patrick Manning time, we used to always talk the word developed country, and we had some benchmark. So I'll say how we establish what we call pillars of development. Forget to throw myself back on there, man. How do we establish what we call pillars of development in our match that we play out in the pavilion? How do we, and what pillars of development we look at to lay the foundation for achieving developed country status based on the World Health or UN benchmark in terms of crime, in terms of birth rate, in terms of literacy, in terms of housing, in terms of health care, and so forth. These are certain benchmarks that World Health and UN will have in terms of determine when you at developed country status in terms of your GDP ratio per capita and so forth. They would look at those measurements. So the first thing we have to start doing is putting those measurements, what are the standards and where we are from those. We like to call it, let me say, for ease of conversation, first world standards. I ain't calling no country, no first world. I just saying what are the benchmark they put and where we are relative to the benchmark. So then it determines what we're working towards. Then we look at the strategies to put in place to achieve that objective. Because I feel a lot of us in this country is working what we call through the motion. We're going through the motion, we're doing knee-jerk thing, and we're doing feel-good thing. But we're really solving a problem. We don't know if we're going uphill, if we're advancing, if we're regressing, if we're just going sideways as a sliding scale. We don't know. And if you don't have a measurement, so when someone passes a test, you have a measurement. You say 50% and more, you pass. You have a measurement. If we say our healthcare system is at a 40%, I ain't saying it is that, or a 60% efficient or effective in terms of taking care of the population based on ratios, in terms of population ratio, based on healthcare personnel, based on institution for healthcare. Yes? Where are we in terms of WHO or UN standard or IMF standard or World Bank standard that says we at a developed country status in this area, we 10% down in this area, or that. So the country as a whole know where to focus on for growth, change, and where to keep tweaking and fine-tuning that it will not drop. You understand what I'm getting at? And this is how we govern and how we look at our governance model and structure for growth and development. Not the Walla Walla thing and who thing and the treasury. They take out someone from the treasury and they put back that in the treasury and all kind of. Jesus Christ. Folly. Everything we do must be predicated upon a measurement. Because we're doing whatever we're doing to achieve an objective in the well-being of the citizenry. And one hope everybody's on the same board with that objective, to do that which is in the best interest of all concerned. So we're saying we're in the pavilion, the 41 of them in the field, bowling the ball, who chucking the stumps and so forth, and who say who buy this and who think that. I really not interested in who buy the this and who buy the that. Governance is a continuous thing, it's a continuous ball that keep rolling, whether who in the chair and who not in the chair. It had to keep going. So I had time with who point and who didn't do and who didn't do. Question is, was it done? Was it done in the best interest of all? Okay, cool, let me go down the road now. But what I would like us to do is, what are the strategic plan for, parties have their manifestos for, and we do this and we do that and do that. Okay, no problem. But that's your manifesto. So the party is campaigning and they have their manifesto when we're going to do that. But how you know that the public service and them buy into that manifesto you come in there with? Because you could say all that you want on the campaign trail about your manifesto and your who-to and who-to. And if the people that implement that in your manifesto not align or in line or in support of all that you write there, you're wasting time. You're wasting time. So there's a next step from getting into a governance situation or a position after an election, and we run out the manifestos and the stores and the stores and the stores and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And then here what we do. The cabinet do some cabinet note and they send it in the ministry and they said, do that. And that is the reason why we're failing so much, you know. They just said, do that. 80% of the people are really buying their support. They understand what you want to do. They know why you want to do it. Two people just come and they put something with the minister and the PS in something. No ministry is sitting down at this beginning. A government come into office. I came in with a vision of how I want to mold and structure the country to create a developed country model, for ease of too much words. So I win the election. And I'm saying the first thing that should be done as you establish a ministry, you must have a strategic retreat. So all and sundry, down to the cleaner in the ministry, understand what the vision the executive have for the country and what role this ministry plays in achieving that vision. So they deal with the mission now. Right? So the ministry will operationalize the mission. So the first thing we have to do is a retreat and make sure there's buy-in, make sure everybody understand their role and responsibility, their function, expectation, KPIs that we put in place to achieve these objectives are these noble objectives. No party come out and government or executive go in office with ill intent. I just repeating what they say on the platform. No going with ill intent, you know. They're going with well-intended policies for the well-being of the population. Forgetting that they can't do it. You can't do it. You need a next element, which is called the state, for implementation. But interestingly enough, at no point in time did you pull the state together for the state to understand what role it plays in implementing that vision that you have for the country. So no retreat. I remember I complimented Kennedy Swartz Singh when he established for his ministry a vision and a mission. I said, kudos, good stroke, good stroke. I don't know, probably somebody could call in how many ministries have vision and mission. How many ministries did a strategic retreat to align itself with the vision of the cabinet or the vision of the executive to make sure what we're doing fulfill that pillar of development that we are responsible for fulfilling. Only understand why we having the bacchanal all over the place and so forth? Because we just whoops in and it's a cricket match, so we whoop in. So I'm telling you how to align this thing for proper governance. So I come into office, I've sold on those stages outside there where we campaign, and I roll out a manifesto. I win. I go on inside, I build my cabinet with about 20 ministries, as the case may be, because I need 20 ministries. These ministries will have permanent secretaries, they will have advisors, they will have technocrats, and so forth in the various ministries. Then they will have the various professionals, the engineers, the surveyors, the lawyers, and so forth, the various managers, the HR people, and so forth. All of these people have a particular role to play in achieving a particular objective, you know, in achieving the pillar of development that that ministry is responsible for. The question I'm getting back, and I'm being repetitive in different ways here, have that pillar of development and the strategy to so achieve been drilled down or communicated down to the cleaner? Because the cleaner had to know sometimes when to clean the office too, you know, that place for, because the cleaner could clean a wrong time and interrupt a serious meeting and people with a thought process and distract them and they lose the thought, you know, because the cleaner run through the door and kick the pail bucket down the step, palang, 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 makes a noise, and we get distracted. So the cleaner had to know when to clean too. So they form part of that strategic, have a part in the strategic role in achieving the pillar of development in that ministry. And I go back at no point in time and I look for it. I know in the past, I know cabinets also have cabinets retreat when an executive is installed. They have a cabinet retreat, but it have to go further than that, people. You must have a ministry retreat. You go further, then you have to have institution retreat. TNTech, WASA, TSTT. Well, no, I said TSTT, and no pun intended, TSTT. I see you all had a retreat with directors, I don't know, 10 people. So I don't know what was the outcome you all were looking for, why you all choose 10 people to have a retreat with. But a retreat must include, to a large extent, critical players from all organs of the institution. So who is in charge of the cleaners must be inside there, because he have to relay now that vision to the cleaners. Who in charge of, you know, the trucks, maintaining the trucks, who in charge of the lines, who in charge of procurement, who in charge of seeing that the grass cut around the telephone sites and them and so forth, who in charge of the cell sites. So the strategic plan must include all the critical players of the ministry or the institution. They must understand what their roles and responsibilities are in achieving that vision and mission of the ministry or the institution. But you know, if we understand that, you know, there's a saying, I don't know, people say, oh God, and the man, they're going to lunch 2 hours now, and they reach work 10 o'clock, they're going for lunch 12, they come back 2, and then they leave 3 o'clock. Probably there really are no KPIs, there are no, well, if I come back earlier, that's really just sit down and do nothing, you know, because I had nothing to do, so I just go up the road. I don't know. But I'm saying if everyone is aligned and be proud of the measurements that we have to achieve to say, yes, we achieved the milestone. We have milestone. We are achieving. What are the measurements of Ministry of Legal Affairs? I just call it. What is the milestone for the Ministry of Public Administration? Of Tourism? What are the milestones, and if these milestones exist, everybody in our ministry are aware of what they are, time frame to achieve it, how we intend to achieve it. And it's not done by no speech by no minister saying blah, 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 2 minute speech and it go anywhere. That is not no strategic planning for people to understand really, and then we examine the challenges in your ministry to achieve, or your department to achieve your part of it. All that we have to examine, you know. Because we can have the whole strategic plan, the whole meeting and everything, but there are some bugbear. Because here in your department, there are no printer, you know, but you have to print some report to circulate for everybody. But, oh, Shims, your department has no printer, boy, so that is a challenge there. So we have to look at some root cause analysis now. We have to look at what's taking place in the ministry and drill it out and fix it now so we get proper efficiency taking place. You know, sometimes the police service say, well, hey, we have no receipt book, or the receipt book gone down the road, and you have to come back for a receipt, and the paper done, and we can't print, and hey, donate a pack of paper for we or some kind of thing like that, as the case may be. This is the level of examination we have to take if we really want efficiency to take place and we stop pointing finger. A lot of these things are nothing to do with the 41, eh? But what I'm saying in terms of a governance model and a 360 model, we as a society have to have the conversation of the country. We're supposed to be hearing that based on the benchmark for developed country status, the various areas of measurements that exist, I feel tomorrow I'll go through that. You know, I think sometime last year I dealt with this to some extent. What are some of the benchmarks we need to look at to consider your country a developed country? And in each category, where we are as a society. Now, this is when I just start take governance and government serious. But when they're doing that, I say, well, let me drink a Malta. When we achieve that and we establish that, and we set the trajectory on addressing those shortcomings, those gaps, and we then pivot now and go back to our ministries and say, here what? Your role, based on best practice, UN or World Health measurement, or IMF or World Bank measurement, this ministry is performing, and we then do a root cause analysis to see why we're performing at that level relative to societal development and our role we play in society as a ministry. And then we start to do the fixes. Yeah? Because now we know where the gaps are that is preventing us from achieving that standard. So we're working towards something. How much ministry we know working towards something really and truly? Or we just whooping and vapping? Just going after something. Well, let me just get that. Let me get that. I will be going into, as an empire, into real country management. How you manage a country, how you manage a society, how you develop standards, how you develop strategy, how you establish your root cause analysis formulas for your various, you know, we have a Bureau standard, and if people understand the role of Bureau standard and how we don't really use it, how it is underutilized in our development as a country in terms of our standards, our ISO standards and so forth, and our systems that we use in institutions, and how robust some of these standards are that could really help shift the paradigm to make us so much more efficient, really and truly. I know the administration spoke about the STO. I had my take on STO, and I had some negative take on STO from the standpoint. I only had my only negative takeaway from STO, really and truly, was some costs that incur. I was involved in 1, 2, 3 STO certification process. And the price, I mean, if to get to store certification, if you're not in a liquid position, it's something that you have to stay away from, and so forth. If you're liquid, but what I would get kudos to, the store process, and himself, it is not a requirement, people. I want organizations and institutions, himself, be it TNTech, be it NGC, be it WASA, be it TSTT. I want you all to sit down with your management team and your HSC team and really go through that 153 elements of store. And you would see how the level of improvement in organizational improvement you will see in your company. There are some excellent elements in that store documentation that really make you examine your organization, and it make you guilty sometimes when you see the cracks and the gaps that exist. You know, I give one. In the store, in store certification, in store documentation, one of the things they ask you, do you maintain your own vehicles? Okay, you say yes. And there's a whole checklist in your garage. They went to how you dispose of the oil from your garage. And you must demonstrate with evidence that it is a certified organization or body that come to retrieve the oil. You know, most guys put it in a drum, have it in an area. They'll ask you then, who picks up that drum when it's full with oil? Is this a certified organization? And where do they dispose of? So you still have a responsibility. Not because, well, John Brown and they take up the oil. Well, I done with them. My head good, you know. They take the oil and they go on with the oil. Still will ask you, well, where does do with the oil, birds? You have a responsibility to ensure that that is disposed of in a manner that will not cause any negative impact on the environment. So store give you a sense of ownership in all aspects of your organization. It drills down to that everyone have a sense of responsibility and ownership and organization, where they talk from job description, where they talk about processes. I think Petrotrain was getting there in terms of the operation, where Shell had come in and said, hey, no. Every activity must have a process. And every process must be documented. But store also give a life to a business continuity plan in all its form, you know. Because with your store certification, I'm talking about ministries, you could look at your store certification or your ISO certification and inside of your ministry to give standard and organization. I just dealing with store for the WASA, the TSTT and some of these, VEMCOT and all of these places and so forth. I still want you all to get the documentation. The energy chamber would have, I know they're still going on, but get that store document. Or start talking with your Bureau Standard. I think Shepherd is the guy name who's up there now in Bureau Standard. I think so, Kerry or one of those places. And let's look at certification, ISO standard. Store lend to a large, when you finish a store certification, about 90% of the element of an ISO certification you would have covered in a store certification. Yeah? Put the course aside, and probably Bureau Standard should look at what store was doing and so forth. But what store was doing is really saying, here what's going on. if you want to work in the energy sector, there's one standard we want to hold everyone across the board to one standard. And that was towards just the pricing kind of, hey, you look kind of trim off with the pricing, eh? Really and truly, yeah? But only standard good. Only standard good, just the pricing was kind of Jesus Christ. All organization outside, and if you have your private company, KFC and Royal Castle, you know, Coca-Cola, you all should look at some of the elements in store certification and see how it impacts and see how it could help improve your organization efficiency. And I'm talking about store because I have been through the process of successful certification. So I'm talking what I know. I've been through the process of quality management. So I'm talking what I know. If we employ some of these standards in our ministries, again, I'm talking about developed country status people. Understand how I segue and I pull in something back, and I'll bring everything home eventually, because in this pilau, it has all kind of things in this pilau. Some okra, some peas. I know, well, not everybody eating the meat. So I put no meat in it. Right? We put some carrot in it, coconut milk, and then we bring everything home now and we have a tasty pot. So that's what we're doing. I want ministries to start looking at ISO. When I was many years ago in Ministry of Local Government, we had started the process, and I always repeat it because I understood it so well, what was the gap in the effectiveness of the ministry and of government. I studied it a lot. Was the mistake? Was the mischief inside of this thing that causing this thing to be inefficient and so forth? And we had started the process with Bureau Standard Local Government. But we had about 2 or 3 meetings, and well, you know, the minister left, I left, and who left, and everybody didn't really buy into what we were trying to achieve as a whole. But ministries, and I hope the pavilion, I say as Shakespeare wrote, lend me an ear, lend me an ear. That ministry should move with some level of haste to focus on ISO standards for their ministry. You have 9001, and you have various quality standards, because some of them deal a lot with customer service, and there are standards in ISO for customer service. We should do some quality training and so forth. And all of this is really predicated upon us as a country achieving developed country status. Although the 2020 vision had about 7 or so pillars of development, I had one of the CDs for the 2020 vision and the pillars of development. A number of CDs, and the ministries had it, and you could have gone obtain one of the CD and so. There must be a continuum where the vision doesn't stay at the top, but the vision must be drilled down, straight down to the cleaner, to the man who is the sanitation engineer, the man who pick up the rubbles by the road and keep our community in a habitable fashion. You have a role to play, and he must understand his role. So we all about the place, and we point finger, and I hear the Minister of Community Development, I think with Churn Authority, speaking about the board and the Churn Authority and so forth. And I will ask a simple question: what's the level of preparation boards had before they were appointed or after they were appointed, what training board had, what retreat board had or board members had to prepare them for the role and responsibility. We call John James. Now, this is not no indictment on what is taking place now. This is a historic thing. I know 1 year, if I remember well, it had to be a PNM administration had, on winning the election, they had, I think Earl Mahabia carried out the board retreat. There was a board retreat with all the board appointments were taken on a retreat. I think Earl Mahabia, I must check my notes, conducted that retreat on what is the role of the board members, what is the expectation, and so forth. We cannot just put people on board and expect sterling performance. Last week, I always say it, I say it in a joke, but I'm serious. Last week, you're down the road, building a box drain, and then I put you as a director of probably me, T&Tech. Because, well, you probably fund the party, or we know you well, you're my partner, I give you a role and say use director. I have no problem with that, but there must be a level of preparation for you to understand your role and responsibility, one, what the organization is all about. This is why strategic retreat are so critical in aligning everyone to achieve the same mission and vision. Our numbers, the pavilion is quiet, so I know a lot of notes are being taken. I know President normally writes everything down that I'm saying. 342-0081-466-5391. As I structure the governance model, I'm saying down here, probably we had to change it from Third Empire to the Prime Minister's box or something like that. As we structure the country and the ministries and our institution for effective management of their responsibility, we have extremely poor management of responsibility of ministries and the resources that are given to ministries. Extremely poor. We have ministers, not now, historically, jumping out of their shoes and trying to play sword fight and defend the indefensible. You can't defend no ministries that have the people in the ministry and know where the purpose where they come from, minister. Don't do that. You just say where's the government vision for the ministry, the strategic leadership, right, that is given to the ministry and the resources to so achieve, and let the chips fall where they may. Let us hold people now accountable for implementing that vision. That is how it have to go. Step back, know your role, know your place. Because a lot of people that are highly paid in this society are getting away scare-free on a daily basis. I don't want to blame them as yet, but I will give all of us the opportunity to realign our management and governance system and model for efficiency, for proper delivery to the people in our charge, that is the population. I spoke about Lady Young Road and the water in the road obliquely opposite the MP's office when you after the walkover heading to Mover Junction when you come down Lady Young Hill or road and so forth. On the left hand side, that water, if children have to walk down the road, have to walk in the middle of the road to walk down. That is still there. The garbage collection at the little lower down and so forth is still there. And I don't know, probably we had to get somebody from called Trump to come and fix it or something like that, because it seemed like nobody in Trinidad could fix it or responsible for fixing it, or it doesn't bother when some child get bounced on in the road when they walk out in the road to get away from this water that's covering half the road. Then we'll spring into action. So Lord, the child dead, how the child think, Jesus Christ, we coulda, shoulda, woulda. But it's in we face, it's not easy to get tobacco. We have enough contractors all about the place getting $1 billion contract, call them. Did they contribute to development of the country? They must be able to give Len a tractor for a day. When I was in the ministry, I used to tell a man, hey, you get contract, give you a contract, clear that down there for me. Contractors could do that. In the ministry, backhoe now working. Enough ministry, it all can equate. Had the army. Army have a set of backhoe and equipment and truck down in the Tetron all about. Let the army come up with a backhoe and scrape the road and clear the drain. What I'm saying, we have too much resources in this country for these things to be taking place, really and truly. We have too much resources in this country. I say, how much regional, 14 regional corporation and we have? So now them have a backhoe to come, if Mova Lava and tell you who is responsible for it, or Port of Spain Regional Corporation, they have a backhoe. So you can borrow one from Sanwa, Oshoguanas, lend me a backhoe to clear that thing there because it's impacting negatively on the livelihood of the people in the burgesses and so forth. So we can call Penal DB and borrow a backhoe. We'll call Junior Sammy and say, Junior, oh God, let me a backhoe now, boy. We just want to clear something and help some people. No, nobody can do that. Really? Minister, I know if it's local government or Ministry of Works who is responsible for the road, but I'm saying, you know, rocket science to fix it is not difficult to fix that. You know, you're always talking again, a little hungry, you know. So here I go and do, here I go and do. And I'm advising all you. Look at follow what you go and do, eh? I'm going to give all you a tip here. Here's a tasty meal tip from Royal Castle. So you know where I'm going with this. Here's a tasty meal tip from Royal Castle. If you feel like having something different for lunch or dinner today, lunch pass, so dinner coming. Then we have a fantastic fish meal too. Get the fish combo with 2 succulent pieces of fish, one side, and a 16-ounce soft drink. Or the fish sandwich combo of a tender, tasty sandwich, one side, and a 16-ounce soft drink. The castle used the freshest fish with its famous enticing local seasoning, all cooked to a golden perfection. So try our fantastic fish meal today. Royal Castle, our culture, our taste. So the Royal Castle I'm going to have right now. Later on I might have something else. Right now, Royal Castle. A ham ginger tea, a licking a Royal Castle behind that. Following close behind a Royal Castle with the ginger tea. And we go down the road again. So what I'm saying is that we do have issues, and I call them problem. Problem is when you know what to do. We know what to do. So we have no problem. We have a challenge with competency. Why we're experiencing some of the things we're experiencing. We have a challenge with commitment. If people are committed, they really look at plausible solution to solve, I don't want to call it problem, you know, because we have a solution for it. The issues or challenges that impact negatively on the lives of our burgesses or the country as a whole. Yeah? It's not hard to fix. It's not difficult to fix. We have the will. We have the way. It's just to employ. And I started with some simple solutions. Did I listen to me, you know? But I say it. But when I'm in office, I will implement these things. When I'm in office, I'll implement these things because probably I feel somebody you only how to fix it, you have to go inside there to fix it. So I'm going inside there. I'm going inside there because I feel I can fix it. Good? I hear the minister talking about European corruption in Europe and some investigative journal. I have to get I had to get an article. Minister, I know the minister was reading some newspaper about some corruption in Europe. Europe was under my charge at one point in time. and we practice a level of transparency in all that we do. I believe in that. That we must be accountable, and we must be held accountable for the responsibility given to us. More so when it takes into account the state's resources, money I'm speaking of, that we must be held accountable and brought to book. But again, we live in a society where you hear 5 years no audited financial statement, 10 years no audited financial statement, and everybody just going down the road happy like pappy. No consequence, no issues, la-di-da, big salary paying. These institutions have boards, chairmen, they have audit committee, they have corporate secretary, and the real titles and names these people have, you know, and they have, the boards have subcommittees. Subcommittees on the board, and we's a board member, and I the director, and I the chairman, and I the chairman of this subcommittee, and I the corporate secretary, and who is the who, and after 8 years, we look at give me one audited financial statement. We had to start calling names. I see the Speaker of the House dealing with a committee with pharmaceutical and the importation of pharmaceutical. But I have to say, I like his candor. I like his candor and his bravado. You have to get on, so, you know. You have to go at them because they're on folly. A lot of these people, technocrats, and so we have in position on folly. You have to go at them. You have to go at the jugular. Because they get big money and they're on folly. Dig them out, Jaggy. Jags, dig them out. They're on folly. Start to say, how they say, 80 million in pharmaceuticals in the bond under NIPDEC. I see NIPDEC is one for the bond. Expired and had to throw away. And everybody just went home normal. You know, we talk about the law earlier, and you know, there's something in law called mischief in public office. There's something in law that you could be arrested, you could be charged for. That's called mischief in public office. But we had about 80 million in pharmaceuticals in the bond in Shagaramas that is under NIPDEC expired. Hospitals do have this, that, and the other. When you go, people line up in the hospital for pharmaceuticals and so forth. You go in drugstore, see that they have this, they don't have that as the other, but 80 million had to be thrown away. And everybody normal. Everybody acting normal. And that is the problem we have. Lack of consequence for non-performance, for incompetence, for failure to do what you're supposed to do. We talk and we la. I don't hear nobody talking about it again. You know, it came up in the news some time ago and everybody is done with that. Yeah, we throw it out. Our life goes on. This is why the mistakes of yesterday keep repeating itself, and we are a country, we like hamster. We like hamsters on the wheel running real fast, but we are going nowhere because we're running fast on the same spot. We are treadmill society. We are treadmill society. Running. We sweaty, you know. Running. But we're really going anywhere. Let us start to benchmark our performance against best practice or world standard in each area that speak to the pillars of development. In terms of childbirth, there's one. In terms of, what do they call it, communicable diseases, cancer, obesity, diabetes, what have you. Where are we in terms of that, and what are we doing or put in place to combat these ills in society? We could talk about the data. 5 men dead, shot, 40 people dead from cancer, 6 child die, childbirth. No problem with that. Okay, that, all right. 1X. How are we preventing that from repeating itself? What are the systems we putting in place? What are the standards we set in as a society? What are the KPIs? What are the measurements? I ask again, you see 41? 41 on the field. I want you all to agree on something for me. That the 41 in the playing field must look at what are the pillars of development for achieving a developed country status. We are using developed country because it's an easy benchmark, it's an easy platform to start this thing on. The role of the 41 must start the conversation. That's the conversation I want to hear, not who did get the dragon grass first and who did get the UFAC license first and who did. We are time with all of that. We passed that stage. We are where we are. We, the people in the pavilion, want to know how you all going to give us a good match, an entertaining match, a match that we all could say, yeah, that match was good, boy. You know, long time when you go a karate movie and you come outside the karate scene, you kick down pole, you kicking down dustbin, you feel it's Wang Yu. Who remember Wang Yu? Eh? They most will remember Bruce Lee, but who remember Wang Yu and the Drunken Master? When you come out this cinema a long time, it's so infused in you. They so win you over. You come outside and you're doing the monkey style, the Drunken Master style, and the Cobra. You understand? This is where the pavilion supposed to infuse that rush in all of us, that when we watch, we say, yeah, the pavilion's serious. When we say, here we're going on as a pavilion, we are agreeing on certain pillars of development that we must pay particular attention to. And these pillars of development will ensure that we have ministries that align with these pillars of development, will ensure that the ministries have the necessary training and certification, ISO standards, so that we can. And then we, the 41, will be examining the performance of the various agencies to see that we are achieving that and where the gaps are. In these agencies that impact negatively on us achieving that trajectory. Yeah? We go on the other side of 5 o'clock. In a little bit, as we come down and we pay some bills, we'll go on the other side of 5 o'clock. And when we come back, we'll start looking at some pillars of development for our country and the pavilion role in establishing some rubric for efficient achievements of these objectives. We're on the other side.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. The big nation, cause they don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we all have fun, and let we join together, because KFC KFC is life. It's a big deal.
Say what you want. KFC, so we lead in front.
Big deal.
We are big nation. TNT and KFC, one motion.
Big deal.
Boy, I got in an accident a while ago. I was in traffic and my car get bunks from behind.
Well, then they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the insurance company go fix it up.
Fix up? Huh? I make my claim the next day. And up to now, I can't hear from the insurance company. I need my car fixed.
Look, you better go to the Financial Services Ombudsman. I'm sure they can help.
Yeah, I'm going to check them now.
To resolve a complaint with your insurance company, bank, or non-bank financial institution, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman at 800-4FSO or visit www.ofso.org.tt. We can help, and our services are free.
This meal tip is being brought to you by Royal Castle. Our culture, our taste.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
Here's a tasty meal tip from Royal Castle. If you feel like having something different for lunch or dinner today, then we have fantastic fish meals too. Get the fish combo of 2 succulent pieces of fish, 1 side, and a 16-ounce soft drink. Or the fish sandwich combo of a tender, tasty sandwich, 1 side, and 16-ounce soft drink. The Castle uses the freshest fish with its famous, enticing local seasonings, all cooked to golden perfection. So try our fantastic fish meals today. Royal Castle, our culture, our taste.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
That tip was brought to you by Royal Castle. Our culture, our taste.
This month, join us for Inside Ramadan, a powerful educational series hosted by SAPA, Southern Academy for the Performing Arts, as we take you deeper into the meaning, traditions, and impact of the Muslim faith whilst we journey towards Eid al-Fitr. Discover the history of Muslims, understand why halal matters, explore Muslims and the economy, whilst learning about the statutes governing Muslim marriages in Trinidad and Tobago, and much more. Hosted by yours truly, Wendy H. Lewis, with insightful conversations featuring distinguished guests, including Senator the Honorable David Nakib, a devout Muslim, along with South businessman Mr. Khayyam Mohammed, and other powerful voices from the Muslim community. Tune in next Thursday the 12th and 19th of March from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on Street 919 FM. Inside Ramadan, as we empower, educate, and edify the nation in alignment with our corporate social responsibility at SAPA, Southern Academy for the Performing Arts.
Get ready, this is big. Our first annual Epic Fundraiser Cruise. Sail in the sunset aboard the stunning Embassy yacht at King's Wharf, San Fernando. Easter Sunday, 5th April 2026. Boarding 2:30 p.m. sharp. Sunset vibes, sweet music, pure liming on the water. Tickets only $250. All funds for a great cause. Together we change lives. Quick route, no glass bottle, no big coolers. Casual dress, come as it comfy. Payments can be made by Monday, 30th of March 2026. Tickets still available. Call or WhatsApp 683-8569 or 716-4203 right now. Limited spots, don't sleep. Sail in the sunset, Easter Sunday, Embassy Yacht. Let's go.
Southern Games 2026, coming to Skinner Park, San Fernando, Saturday, 21st March. Athletics heats start 9:30 a.m. Sunday, 22nd March. Athletics finals plus cycling from 1:30 p.m. Expect fast sprints, powerful finishes, exciting bike races, and attractive door prizes. Perfect family fun. Cheer on our rising local stars. Tickets, adults, $60. Kids under 14, $20. Under 5, free. Buy now at Atherley's by the Park, Awardee Hardware in Marabella from March 6th onward, or at the gate on the day. More info? Call 368-5649 or 77-83274. Southern Games 2026. With God, all things are possible. We thank our sponsors. Peria Fuel Trading Company, Limited, Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, National Flour Mills, TechU Credit Union, and Ventures Credit Union.
There's some advice when you hear it, you know one time is good advice. My granny tell me a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea first thing in the morning does wonders for the body. Good and natural ginger tea in its single-size packets is excellent for flavoring your cooking, salads and desserts. But what was news for me is when my granny say a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea helps with nasal congestion and colds, stomach problems, migraine headaches, and it's really good for arthritis in the body. Made from freshly crushed ginger root to get that strong ginger taste and aroma so soothing. Good and natural ginger tea available with or without sugar, so all you need is boiling water to get a cup going. As the old people say, don't take flambeau to see the night what you could see clear in the day. Good and natural ginger tea. Good advice to start your day right.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
So we're back on the other side of 6 o'clock and we're waxing warm. Numbers, phone lines are quiet. People in classes here. 342-0081, 466-5391. The other side. If I jump back into substantive, I would say, take it to the next level. The Lotto Plus jackpot is now estimated at an incredible $7.7 million. Go from having a little to owning a lot. With $7.7 million, you could move from a small apartment into acres of land, investment properties, and room to dream even bigger. Add the multiplier for just $5 more for a chance to win up to $1 million. Get your ticket now for Wednesday's estimated $7.7 million Lotto Plus jackpot. Remember, winners always play Lotto Plus. Players must be 18 years or older. Please, please, play responsibly. We say that opportunity knocks. Another way to pay the bill. So let me try and pay the bill another way. So we've been talking about the society and things we should do that is not difficult in terms of bringing our efficiency. I said I would start with this hour, we wind down to the last hour. We start looking at our pillars of development for the country and where we should be looking and focusing our attention on. The 41, but more so, the 41 will come up with that vision in terms of what we want. You know, some things that, you know, you will hear World Bank speak of. Trinidad and Tobago and its economy and its benchmark, and you read about our infrastructure development, our healthcare system, our ICT infrastructure and so forth, or income levels and economic stability. Although it may be strong, there may be some level of volatility because of our dependence on so much heavily on hydrocarbon, and the fact that hydrocarbon is pegged against world market prices, external forces could impact negatively on us and so forth. So these are the things we look at. We look at our economic diversification of the country, our manufacturing sector, our agriculture sector, our digital services that we provide in this country. I see some countries now, as I mentioned this week, Bahamas and Barbados actually trade using their own dollar. They do use the SWIFT system or US dollar to trade amongst themselves. They trade. We have, I talked earlier some time ago of the PAPS, PAPSS system. You all could go and Google it. That is used in Africa. 29 countries in Africa actually trade using their own dollar. They do not use the SWIFT system or the US dollar to trade amongst themselves. Some of these things we could look at in how we evolve and we develop as a country and so forth from our digital services. Other countries do in Ghana and some places they have with Safaricom using the M-Pesa system for payment where you tap your phone and so forth. That is happening out in Africa and so forth. So our digital system, we could strengthen it. Our agriculture sector, although we have so much available land, we still fumbling around with agriculture. Our manufacturing sector, we lack that competitiveness because of, I suppose, economies of scale. These are some pillars we could look at. So economic diversification in terms of our pillars, we had to look at that significantly. Right? Governance and institution, we had to look at that. Well, I know we deal to some extent with procurement, but procurement must be looked at. I'll give one example. I'll give one example of procurement. There is some site visit going on, and in one corporation, one regional corporation, they're doing some site visit for some work and so. So here what you have to do. So they're not given any mobilization or anything like that. Good? So their system is you have to pay a 10%, put on a 10% performance bond. When you finish the contract, you get 90% of your money, and they keep back 10%, we call a defects liability bond you put in, our next bond you put in there now, so you have 20%, which they hold for about 90 days, and then they give it to you, back to you, and so forth. Now, I don't know if these things fall under the procurement legislation, and I have to examine if that is our procurement rules. Is that how we give contracts? Because the first time I'm hearing you have given government contract, the first time I'm hearing the rule where, okay, you get no mobilization, but you have to put a performance bond. And then after you finish the job, you get 90% and you have to leave a 10% inside again. The defects liability, in case something go wrong with the job and so forth, they take from that 10%. But although you have a 10% performance bond inside, yeah? I don't know if these rules were made up. I don't know if it's procurement legislation or it is the procurement rules of the country that to me, a lot of institutions are really still doing their own thing when it comes to procurement. This is a new one. This was a first that I come up with. It's not what somebody tell me. I do like what Tom. I was there. So I'm repeating what was told and so forth. Although a number of persons in the audience had issues with the comments. But that is how they were given contracts. Perception of corruption and political interference and so forth. These are governance pillars that we have to look at as we look at developing our country. Human capital, our education system. We say a lot of people question our education system, what it is. What are the gaps in it? What are we trying to achieve in our education system? That's the first thing we have to determine. We really want to achieve. Our education system align with our development trajectory. For example, we talk about in this program, we talk about gate. You're given gate, you can't give gate hablash. Anybody, you go and get gate and you pay for gate and you do gate, but half the things they're doing in gate, not really, it's free education, but it doesn't feed back into the demand space where we want human capacity for development of the country. So we get gate for a man to do some strangeness as the case may be. He might find it important for him, but relative to where we want to take the country in terms of development, only about 2% of the people take gate for that. So if we're given free education must be predicated upon studies that is in line with and will support the institutions that are responsible for taking the country somewhere. Developed country status we're talking about, right? Infrastructure development, we have one, okay. Let me explain something. I want to explain something. No pun intended, but I'm saying as it is. At one point in time, there was a conversation about Chinese own Lake Asphalt and Chinese own Lake Asphalt. Chinese own Lake Asphalt. Lake Asphalt is 100% state-owned. But the Chinese is one of the largest importers of what we call processed pitch, what they call, so I call it pitch for now. We know Pitch Lake, I call it pitch for simplicity, so everybody will be on the same page. Of importing pitch from the Pitch Lake into China. So I'll explain. Why the Chinese buying so much? Lake Asphalt have, I would say, the best, what we call performance grade modifier for building roads. So the largest bridge in China was paved with pitch from Lake Asphalt because of the superior performance of the pitch when mixed with bitumen and other derivatives to pave the road. What we have in the Pitch Lake in Labre is not asphalt. It is pitch, which is a modifier. A modifier is that which is used to determine the hardness, the rigidity of the pavement or the footpath or the road, as we would call it, that is being built. So, in other countries, they use synthetic modifiers that will build chemically. We have a natural modifier in the Pitch Lake that is world class, performance grade, as is. So the Chinese use it, and the Guangdong brand, the largest bridge in China, they take that, they mix it with the bitumen and so forth, because using the pitch from the Pitch Lake, I'm using pitch, I will use modifier because I want everybody to be on the same page with me. The pitch is what they use to mix with the bitumen and the other ingredients, the aggregate and so forth, to determine the hardness to prevent creeping and alligatoring, that the shifting of the road and the cracking of the road. Right? So let me talk layman terms. When you use that in your mixture to build a road, you can actually build a road that will last 25, 30, 40 years. This is why Shagaramas, Lady Young, Wallafield, Maracas, those roads that were built by the Americans and while they were here were pitch. The modifier from the pitch lake is what was used in the blend. This is why those roads are standing up under all the pressure up to today. So the Chinese and they buy it. So really and truly, we're supposed to have roads in Trinidad that's supposed to be lasting us all kind of 30 years and 40 years, all kind of thing. Because we have the most critical ingredients for building road that give lifetime existence to our vehicular machine. And the most critical ingredient is that natural modifier. That world performance or world grade modifier that we have in library. That the Chinese and the when that a bill is the airport, Kennedy Airport. Most major airports use like asphalt, pitch as the modifier. The Chinese knows it well. It stands up, take a licking and keep on ticking. Therefore, our infrastructure, and I say that, all of that. So the Chinese know we have a good one, but we know we have a good thing. The Chinese and them know we have a good thing. When they go China, the road smooth like baby bottom. But we don't know we have a good thing. So when we talk about maintenance is inconsistent, we're talking about our pillars of development. I'm examining some pillars and I'm juxtaposing what are the gaps that are affecting us achieving some serious milestone with our pillars, our infrastructure. The Minister of Works and Infrastructure talk about 500 potholes and so forth. We should have no pothole in this country, really and truly. Because we have a performance grade modifier that we can be using. When you're coming down from Wallafield, Santa Rosa, there was some mischief in the road. Then you reach San Augustine, there are some waves in the road, and if you really hold the steering on Rice Road by the market, the road doing some alligatoring and creeping and wavy thing and so forth, and those things shouldn't be happening. Not when you have world performance modifier that we have in Lake Asphalt, and probably our mixed design engineers in Ministry of Works. You see, we hired the minister and to do the minister don't deal with mixed design for road infrastructure. The minister don't deal with that, you know who deal with that? The technocrats in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, the technocrats in local government who deal with the mixed design. For contractors to pave the road. And if all you fall in, all your high-paid state employees who in charge of ensuring that they are proper mixed design for paving road, if all then we got poor roads. Then you know the public, the minister had nothing to do with the paving, and the minister made sure Ministry of Infrastructure get $4 billion. And then they get contract to pave the road, and the road shifts away. This is not to yellow and red. Is the state that failing the people in this regard. So one of our pillars is that, our infrastructure. One of our infrastructure is our road. In terms of buildings, we build good buildings and so forth. Our challenge with building is poor maintenance. Right? Our maintenance element is lacking, and there is something we have to look at. Our digital infrastructure, we have traffic management and logistics gap. Traffic management, Jesus Christ. Me had to talk about traffic management, and these are some of the pillars that we fail in terms of how we manage traffic. Where traffic lights are supposed to be controlling the movement of vehicles on the road. Traffic lights and traffic signals. If it build up here, red, divert traffic across here, because this side, I know who will use Waze on the thing. Waze will tell you, traffic here, take this next road, divert here, you will reach here in 10 minutes, cut across. That's what our traffic management system on the road should be doing. Telling you where to turn this. All right, don't pass so, traffic here. That we should be doing. Every day we have on average 200,000 vehicles heading into Port of Spain based on last survey. 200,000 daily, Monday to Friday. Me I was Saturday and Sunday, Monday to Friday. Ad nauseum, I remember 1 year under the Manning administration, we had some storm warning. And they say, oh, people go home, leave work early, go home, storm coming, storm coming. My office was in Kent House at the time, Bright Maraval there. It take me over close to 2 hours to reach from Kent House to President's House around the Savannah. Traffic because everybody leave the office at the same time. So you had these 200 or so cars that came into Port of Spain between the hours of 6 in the morning to 9 in the morning to go to work, try to leave Port of Spain at the same time. Good luck. But you know something, we never did none to prevent that from repeating itself again. We talk about it. Imbut was Minister of Works at the time. We talk about it. There we look at our system in terms of just happen, how we evacuate people from Port of Spain if there's a natural disaster and so forth. And we stop. We get paralyzed, we get a stroke because we never continue that conversation in terms of ODPM. I find you all to be real quiet, you know. ODPM, I sent you all a document relative to disaster management. Well, they never respond. I think I'll start exposing people on this radio station. ODPM, I sent you all a document, it's Selvon Mitchell here, relative to disaster management and some that we could discuss and looked at, but you all never responded, eh? Please do. Just being mischievous. But I did send them a document on disaster management and again in the ICT space, in the digital space, and how we can improve on what they're doing and so forth, using that digital platform in time of disaster and how we could do this thing and so forth, but they never respond and so forth. So I'm saying our digital framework, yeah, we have some form that we could go in some place and have some form, and that even and spelled out, a lot of people still go to government office for basic form, and it's not really schooled and is it drilling down, you know. I feel if a ministry do something for a community, ownership thereafter should be two things. Either the regional corporation brings that activity closer to the people, or the ministry sub-office in their field office work bring it to the people and so forth. So that is one of the pillars of development that we have to rethink and retool how we get, not making some statement on a podium, minister say some speech, somebody write for him, and yeah, now we have the form, and people get the form, and we do something, and everybody forget about it. Because here what's going on. The man up in Toko was in the garden at the time, only had that thing and talk about that thing, you know. So he really know it have a form that he could do a thing with, because he was in the garden. So we had to have the outreach program in terms of government activity and how to reach the people and spread that around. So that is inadequate, and we have to look at that, right? Our innovation ecosystem and so forth, I talk about that, and how we scale technology in terms of how we now launch this thing in the airport. Barbados had it how much years ago? They were doing the thing already. I know what keeping us back, why we, I don't know, the politics or the public servant or we had the money, so that's not any problem. In terms of or the banking system is so controlling in terms of why, in terms of digital, and I point this one out. I don't know the technology minister name, the young boy. You know, in India, I mentioned it earlier, I don't know what they call it in India, but in Africa, they have M-Pesa, they have a next one too in Africa. Although the Western media don't talk about Africa, there's a lot of things going on with fintech in Africa that will make Trinidad look like we in the bamboo age. The fact that banks control so much, and every time you do something in a bank, they charge you $1. You swipe your card, you pay $1. You use our next ATM, if you're in with this bank and you go in our next bank ATM, they charge you $4. And they charge you that, and how bank make money, just taxing you. As me and Motley say, bank is like the police for we money. And why it is our telecommunication companies are not looking at what Safaricom in Ghana did in terms of this application on your phone where you can tap your phone and pay a bill. So Safaricom, I know because I'm doing something with Safaricom right now that we can look at. Why Digicel or TSTT not looking to develop applications? Well, let me put it this way, I usually will develop. This is an old thing at TSTT and Digicel. Only just charging man phone bill, and feel only adding to some economic growth and development. Only adding no value to the diversification of the economy. I should be able to put the app on my phone. There's one app, M-PESA, that you'll be supposed to develop an app, and if you all call me, I could show you how to go about TSTT or Digicel. I'm available to have discussion with you on how we could develop that app so that on your SIM card you can make your SIM card with your phone a bankable device where you tap your phone and you pay a bill. But if we do that, the bank and them would make so much money, because when I get my pay, I load my card with my pay and put it in the bank. So when I have to pay a bill, it ain't no so now the fintech space now is controlled by the telephone company. So only telephone company got money in the bank, so it ain't no 500,000 of us with bank account no more, you know. Because what Africa realized is a large percentage of the economy were unbanked. Large set of people don't have no bank account. And in that space, they say, all right, we create the avenue where you can use your phone now as the device, as your bank, really and truly. You tap your phone, you have your password and what firewalls and what are they know the thing. And you go down the road, you buy a thing from the doubles man, you tap your phone and you pay the doubles man. With your phone, you have to carry no cash no more. You have to have the safeguards on your phone, of course. Now the different phone might start, but that next problem we are look at. But I'm saying, these countries, India have it, is maximized in India a lot. Africa, it's running crazy in Africa and so forth for the unbanked. So a telephone company must start adding value. Digicel, TSTT, Kino Cox, Brand Sealy, Digicel. Let me have a conversation about it. There are things we could do, innovative things we could do to really bring about ease, bring about comfort, and help with developing the space to be more efficient and so forth. We talk about youth development in one of the pillars of development. Youth development, we talk about crime and pillars of development that is benchmarked by World Health, UN, IMF, World Bank, and so forth. And how we could impact on the youth. We have had in the past youth camp, where children go in the youth camp and they stay in the youth camp and they learn a trade and so forth. A lot of the skilled persons that we have today came out of youth camp, and some of them who rated them, I knocked the table to them, came out of youth camp and are doing human service in terms of positive contribution to the society. That worked. We had, I think we have CCC, we have MyLAT, we have MyPAT, we have cadets, we have, I spoke about these things, all these various little institutions, I call them, played a significant role in developing and molding our youth into model citizens yesteryear, you know. Brownies and so forth. My last daughter was in Brownies. My eldest daughter was in Cadets. I think, she listening. I think she was a captain in the Cadets or some sergeant or some kind of thing. I saw something. She had a little squadron. My daughter had a little squadron with her. And the Cadets, proud. And these little institutions, these little organization in a child's life help mold a child into and help build character. This thing worked yesteryear. And if it worked yesteryear, we should continue practicing that which worked and take the police out of the schools. Minister Sturge, give me a call. Looking forward to having a conversation with you, since you're in charge of defense, and probably Minister Alexander. Let's have a conversation, man. I'm retired, so my time is I'm available. I'm retired. Talk of simple, and these are not, listen, what I'm talking, the budgeting thing, and you have to go in the budget and you have to, no. Red Cross, journals and Rotke, and you have the 4-H club. Let's go back to the things that work yesterday, man. Let's go back to that which worked yesterday, man. Let's build back confidence in our institution. Let people be proud of our governance model, how we effect governance and change. It's not hard to do, people. All the solutions are there. All the best practices are there. All we need is the will to make those significant changes that will impact so positively on the lives of every citizen. It's not hard to do. Why are we not doing it is the next question. Crime, violence, people shooting ad nauseam. State of emergency will not solve that because the law exists. If you have suspicion a man have gun in the house, go and get a warrant and go and get a gun. Anytime you tell me you have a state of emergency, if you can't get no warrant, or you can't justify to a judge that the man have a gun, so you need a state of emergency to just walk in the house. The law exists right now when you can retain somebody under suspicion for questioning. You can go and hold a man questioning under suspicion, have a suspicion or whatever reason, and so forth, and question him. I need a state of emergency for that. The system in terms of our governance model, and when I say governance, institutions have a governance model. When I say governance, I'm not talking about the 41. I'm talking about the institutions that are responsible for managing the various pillars of development, their role and responsibility. The executive, the 41, will have the necessary laws as the guide rails. The executive will so resource the institution so they will have the necessary liquidity to resource themselves with the tools to achieve the pillar of development that we're looking for. It's hard, it's easy, Just need leadership, which we lack a lot of in this country. A lot of people just zanti wine and posing and we'll look at export diversification as one of our pillars and how we penetrate foreign markets. Africa is one market that is pretty open and buoyant. 1.5 billion people in Africa. ECOWA is 15 countries, 400 million people in ECOWA. That we should be looking at as a market for examination, penetration, buoyant market. With that population that is a consumer's market because of the limited amount of manufacturing that takes place there. When I was in Africa, I was in Nigeria some time ago, and I remember in 2010, 2011, I was in Nigeria, and they only had two soft drinks there, Coca-Cola and Fanta. And I came back to Trinidad and I was trying to entice one or two manufacturers of soft drink or juices and so forth to look at that African market as a possibility to export, because Africa, Nigeria at the time had around 198 million persons and close to 200 million at the time. They're close to, I think they're rocking a little over 3 or close to 300 million right now. I think they're pumping up. They don't sleep. They look like they're sleeping much. And it's a buoyant market. It's to penetrate right now. There's a lot of need, a lot of demand inside of there for a lot of consumption that is taking place in that market. And it's a market that our manufacturers should start eyeing or focusing on in terms of some of the things. One of our challenges is our capacity to really have, you know, okay, for example, one challenge that manufacturers have. When you try to export to a market, let me say Costco, what Costco and they will look for from you is that consistency, because they want LCL, less container load. They want 540-foot container. And they will ask you, can you consistently, because they go in and market and advertise and redistribute to the various stores this product, can you consistently give me 540-foot container of this every month? And most items really no. You might be able to supply maybe one container amount or two containers, the case may be, and so forth. So our capacity sometimes impedes, but it don't limit or stop our ability for export into Africa. I know we have the conversation about that trade and that flight from Africa to the Caribbean is about not more than 8 hours flight, direct flight. It's like going to England. I think it's shorter than going to England. We just have to have that payload to make it economical to move between the CARICOM region and Africa, because our next El Dorado in terms of diversification, in terms of trade, in terms of export, which is one of the pillars where we call under global integration and trade, one of our pillars of development is trade, export diversification. And this is why I'm looking at, so I'm trying to solve some of the things. I'm juxtaposing in a way and putting some of the pointers out there that we can start fulfilling some of those gaps that exist in our pillars of trade. It's not hard to do. People just zanti-wine and posing and posturing as they understand this thing. A lot of them don't understand Africa and how to trade with Africa. Africa do not behave as Europe owe America in terms of trade. I understand we want to run across there and just do something. Okay, run, we learn by mistake, and that is one way of learning. A mistake is a teacher also, and so forth. The market is buoyant, it's available. There's a high demand. Our manufacturers should start looking at that. There are some produce that we can bring from Africa and stimulate our manufacturing sector, utilizing our economic zones and so forth that we have, that we could really benefit from in terms of export, in terms of import, and we importing not so much for consumption, but we're importing to create jobs in terms of stimulating different types of manufacturing in the manufacturing sector, utilizing our economic zone for export into Europe, America, Latin America, as the case may be, and the other Caribbean country, by taking certain raw materials that exist. India, so it's bilateral trade now we're doing. We have to look at how we establish tariffs with ECOWAS, how we establish tariff with other African countries and so forth, what tariff in terms of the shipping to us, we shipping to them, and duties. We have to discuss movement of people. At one point in time, I must call the Nigerian ambassador and the embassy and find out Nigerians had to put up a bond to come to Trinidad. They had to put a bond when they go for the visa to come, or when they go back, they get back the bond. They couldn't just jump on a plane and get a visa and come down the road. We still have to get a visa to go to Nigeria. You know, right now, India, there is a 6 months visa-free travel from India to Trinidad. So you could come from India to Trinidad without visa for 6 months and go back. Silence, a lot of people didn't know that. So there's a visa-free travel from India to Trinidad, but there isn't a visa-free travel from Africa to Trinidad, and that's something we have to pay attention to. If we really want to stimulate trade with Africa, let us establish the movement of people first. Trade is predicated upon the movement of people. We must be able to send a delegation across there, a trade mission, and a trade mission from Africa must be able to come here. But there must be some recognition of how the movement, the free movement of people between the CARICOM region and Africa take place. And if we are so serious about trading with Africa, as Ronald Reagan told Gorbachev, tear down that diplomatic wall of visa. Tear down the diplomatic wall of visa between CARICOM and Africa. That is when I say, oh, they're serious about trade and the movement of goods and service between Africa and the Caribbean. Because what we're doing is you know the song, don't free my mind and leave my hands in chain. So you tell me I can't move from there, you know, but I owe you money. I'm selling something, I'm selling you something, send some money for me. But you can't come by me. That's basically what we're doing. So we had the CARICOM 50th meeting the other day. I doubt they discussed free movement of Africa, people from African continent to the Caribbean. We have Free Exim Bank down there, offering to put on the table $5 billion to aid in trade, movements of goods and services and people and so forth. And nobody talk about how we moving people across. We're talking about the flight from Africa to the Caribbean. Nobody talk about visa. Is it free movement of people? Visa-free travel between Africa and the Caribbean? Are we talking that, or we just feel good conversation? So I'm saying Africa is buoyant to help stimulate our trade, and that is one pillar of development that we could look at: our export sector, our manufacturing sector, our trade sector, and so forth. And they could really help stimulate and create some activity. We ought to stop watching the Western media and the CNN and all of them. They don't talk about a lot of positive, the fintech strength, the raw material in terms of the agriculture sector, the urea development, the oil refinery that is taking place with Dangote and those boys there, the sugar manufacturing. There's so much positive happening on that side of the globe that we could start to marry and realign our country in terms of achieving some pillars. Yeah, I say our minister of what technology is supposed to go Africa. You know, in Burkina Faso they make electric cars in Burkina Faso. I didn't know that. There are things going on across there and so forth. Real thing happening across there. So we must have what we call a strategic diagnostic of our whole system. And today I wanna leave something on the minds of the people. I'll leave in something on the mind. So Trinidad, in my mind, based on all the resources we have, in terms of people, and we have everything, you know, we have everything for the Callaloo. We are not underdeveloped, you know. Trinidad is not underdeveloped, you know. We are under-optimized. I'm going slow. Trinidad is under-optimized because we have all the resources in place. We just haven't aligned the resources to say we are a developed country. We under-optimize. We have everything, like all the knobs on the board, but it's just all over the place and so forth. So we're not underdeveloped. We have energy. We have an educated population. We have a strategic location. We have established institution. We have all the critical elements. We are under-optimized because we're not effectively using all the critical resources that are available to us to be considered, rule of thumb, a developed country. So we lack execution discipline. We lack a diversification strategy. We lack policy consistency. Policy consistency stems from this executive do this one do that. Children Hospital, this one say I ain't doing nothing with it. This one, Children Hospital, this one say build Brian Lara, this one say I ain't thinking Brian Lara, next one say we're not going to finish Brian Lara. And so that inconsistency in policy is what have us like the hamster. So take this watchword. We're not an underdeveloped country. We're just under-optimized. Yeah? Come like you have a V8 engine in your car, but you're using, you know, kerosene instead of jet fuel. We under-optimize. We have everything, every ingredients. We have the human capital, right? We have a strong infrastructure. We're beautifully placed. We have the energy aspect. I know why they closed down Petrotron, but it will not start back. Petrotron will be starting back, hopefully, what month we're in? March, by August. People will start back working inside there again, and rehabilitation will start just now. They had to start back. Hook or the crook, it have to start back. We had the land space for agriculture. We could feed ourselves, as the case may be. Yet we import $1 billion US in food every year. Food products every year. We had to ask ourselves why. We are very mindful, you know. Sometimes some people say, boy, it's cheaper to bring anything, and sometimes some countries have so much surplus they end up dumping. Yeah, they end up just dumping because we are surplus, so we end up dumping, so we sell it cheap. And then some countries, farmers are subsidized. So subsidized to the extent that they could afford to export and compete with our local farmers, and we have to some level protect our farmers from that. And we have to understand what is in the best interest of our country. Paying $1 more by our farmer or paying $1 less to the import. And the day we get from them, we have to wonder how we eating. You understand? Is it better to buy a new brand tire or for a new tire? Which one you will feel more safe driving on? And if we had to pay our local farmers to continue growing and stimulating our farming sector so that we could be self-sufficient with food, remember, you can only be considered independent as a country when you could feed yourself. Eh? Once a country food intake is predicated upon a next man efficiency or productivity, then you're ready yet. This is why I say we under-optimized. We have the land. We have the farmers. We have the career. We have the IWER Agriculture Department. We have the support systems. Then why are we looking for $1 billion US every year? So we wind it down. I'll continue this pillar of development tomorrow, God willing, health and strength, as we showcase where the gaps are as we sit in the pavilion and examine how the 41 is driving what I call economic change. And economic change, there have been no laws, we have enough laws. But how they pivot now and have discussion on, look, what is what we call global best practice in the various sectors, where the gaps are, and what the bowlers have to be doing is holding the batsmen accountable for ensuring that the various gaps that exist are resourced to change their circumstances. So the batsmen now have a responsibility, and the bowlers have the audit eye to ensure that we agree on some pillars of development that must be resourced by the batsmen to ensure we achieve those touch points in the pillars of development. And that is where the auditing of the bowlers come in. You see how we kind of align role and responsibility in how we're supposed to do this thing? So once we clear on the role and responsibility now, let's start putting the pillars of development on the table. Measure where we are as a society relative to best practice, see where the gaps are, and start closing the gap ministry by ministry, organization by organization, and let the chips fall where they may when we find people bepping. Because everybody, every department will have their relative KPIs and so forth. Yeah? So as we wind down this afternoon, it was a pleasure really being on the air, talking with the pavilion, talking strategy with the pavilion, looking at how we can really shift the paradigm with all the resources that we have. I do wish everyone a wonderful evening, and I do look forward to seeing and hearing from you all tomorrow, please God. I'm out of here.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
You want to find something great to do with your Tuesday nights? You want to learn and understand the true reason for Jesus? Then join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. for the program, This Same Jesus, the program that puts Jesus in his rightful place in our hearts and in our homes. Let's bring church home to you. Join us every Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. with your hosts, Kempes and Kevin. Be inspired, be blessed right here on the street 91.9 FM.
Falling in love with Jesus. What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. The big nation, cause they don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we hold our vibe, and let we join together because KFC is life. It's a big deal.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Not everything has to change. At KFC, we don't change the flavor, we add more. Now, get our delicious Lent value meals so you can keep on crunching. Get a fish sandwich for $45 or fish fillet with one regular side, also $45. We give you more of the taste you love for Lent. So keep on crunching with KFC. Finger licking good.
This is the voice of Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist. We are preaching Emergency Alert broadcast, which is from the Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist Church. We will be featuring voices of brethren from different parts of the world, preaching the gospel, preaching prophecy as it relates to current events and the ending of the world. Listen to us on 91.9 FM every Sunday from 9:05 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sundays. May God bless you as you learn the truth. In Jesus' name, amen.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Get ready, this is big. Our first annual Epic Fundraiser Cruise. Sail in the sunset aboard the stunning Embassy yacht at King's Wharf, San Fernando. Easter Sunday, 5th April 2026. Boarding 2:30 p.m. sharp. Sunset vibes, sweet music, pure liming on the water. Tickets only $250. All funds for a great cause. Together we change lives. Quick rule, no glass bottle, no big cooler. Casual dress, come as you comfy. Payments can be made by Monday, 30th of March 2026. Tickets still available. Call or WhatsApp 683-8569 or 716-4203 right now. Limited spots, don't sleep. Sail in the sunset, Easter Sunday, Embassy Yacht. Let's go.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side, and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side, and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
There's some advice when you hear it, you know one time is good advice. My granny tell me a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea first thing in the morning does wonders for the body. Good and natural ginger tea in its single-size packets is excellent for flavoring your cooking, salads and desserts. But what was news for me is when my granny said